What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to CM Aviation. Hope you're having a fantastic day today. And today we have yet another brand new model airport to introduce to the channel for you all today. I hope all of you are excited and welcome everybody to the Albany International Airport. So excited to finally have a regular airport series in the United States in the Northeast region. This has been an area that has been lacking for quite some time. My closest airport nearby, I believe, is Pensacola or Tulsa, and those really aren't even close to the area. And this is a really cool airport, so you're going to recognize this. Yes, this is mainly the Pensacola board actually, but as you can tell, I have manipulated it in such a way that it pretty much looks just like Albany. Now there are a couple of tweaks here and there and some really cool elements throughout, but I think Albany is truly going to be a really neat addition to my model airport lineups. There's some really cool pieces here. JetBlue flies here. We have a Velo and Breeze. We have some really cool hangar action as well, and I just think for maximizing my resources and time, this is a really great addition to the channel. So I'm super excited about this. Today we're going to talk about all the various airline service. We're going to talk about the various, other facilities we'll have. We have the Millionaire FBO right here, so we'll talk about that a little bit. We have Commutair and Piedmont that have airline hangars here, so we'll talk about their maintenance facilities too. FedEx and UPS both fly here, so we'll talk about that and just all the operation in general. So again, I hope all of you are excited, and let's just go ahead and get started. So I'm not going to go too crazy in depth on the history just for the sake of time, convenience, and some of the other aspects, but I'm just going to give you a couple of lines about it that stand out to me. So if you're curious, feel free to go look at it. But anyway, this airport was established all the way back in the year of, I think 1909 is when it came to here, but it's one of the first ever airports actually in the United States, municipal airports that is. So quite a bit of action throughout. There was plenty of military action here as expected. There was the current terminal building here opened, I believe in 1962 is what it looks like. And then they ended up making a new addition when Southwest Airlines started service. So this main structure here was initially built, and then this one also was here too. But the sea gates were added on in the 2000 area. So a couple notes there. And then there was some sort of blurb about this in here. Maybe it was in the service history. Yeah, so some of the airline service that has been here over time includes Braniff did fly here, which is really cool. And they actually served, it doesn't say, but I'm assuming it may have been Dallas or Dulles. But anyway, that was pretty cool. Empire Air was another carrier that had presence here, obviously with their large presence in the Northeast. Mall Airways had service here as well, which is pretty cool. People Express served the airport as well. And then Piedmont Airlines, they actually have a hangar here now with their Embraer 145 service. They had a large presence here. And then the very notable one, Continental Express, actually had, I believe, a little regional jet operation out of here. Just till a few months ago, gates A1 and A2 were these two. They actually had some Saab 340 and Beechcraft action, I believe, in this area, which was really cool. And they were low-level gates, but since obviously you can tell they just transitioned to second-level jet bridges, which is really cool. So that was another neat operation, which induced, I believe, was somewhat there to get the Commutair hangar, which is what you're seeing over there right now. Also saw Republic Airways, TWA, and United, along with all the carriers that you're seeing here. But Commutair actually, yeah, I'm sorry. So Commutair was the subsidiary that was the Continental Connection Beechcraft 1900 flights that were out of here. So that would explain their hangar, and they have kept the hangar, and they're now using it for the Embraer 145s, which is pretty cool. So they have several daily flights to the Dulles hub, which is this flight right here, and that kind of induces that. So yeah, pretty cool. And otherwise, you have, once again, the main terminal structure, which is right here. And then you have Concourse A, which has recently been renovated. It was 4 jet bridges, now includes 6. And this is where United and Allegiant park. You have the B gates, which is this is where American, JetBlue, and Delta parks. And then you have the C gates where JetBlue, Avelo, Breeze, and Southwest park their flights as well. So the main terminal structure, it's a very unique one with how it's set up. I think it's kind of cool that they did that bump out over there on C, and then this whole structure. This is actually SeaTac models that made this. This was not intended for Albany at all. This is just pure ironic that it ended up working out with the sizing of it. So I'm so glad that it worked out, and that's exactly what we have here. So, and I apologize, I'm just keeping an eye on the light outside because there's clouds kind of close, but it looks like we're good. So I just want to make sure in case I need to sprint to get a thumbnail, that's exactly what I'm looking at. So anyway, yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about, some of the services here at the airport, what you can expect, and some of the other various pieces of the puzzle. We're gonna start with Allegiant Air. They are one of 4, I think, technically ultra low cost, or you could say 3 if you wanted to, but anyway, one of 5 total low cost carriers in some capacity. They serve Myrtle Beach, Orlando, Sanford, Punta Gorda, St. Petersburg, Sarasota, and Nashville, so a bunch of Florida as per usual. And what you'll notice with the upstate New York airport here and why I'm so excited to cover it is Florida is the name of the game. This airport has service to, I think it was like 8 or 9 Florida cities, and you're only going to see that continue. So about half the traffic probably goes to Florida. It's really impressive. So you'll see these low-cost carriers, and then Southwest as well has daily service to Orlando, so we'll see a bunch of that. Next, we have United. They are just serving Chicago O'Hare on mainline, which is cool, and Washington Dulles on those commuter 145s we talked about earlier. And Newark was served until very recently, but unfortunately due to the ATC problems, they did terminate that service. So possibly we'll see it back in the future, or maybe a flight to, who knows, maybe Denver or somewhere. We'll have to see. But that is just the United service. It's not too strong right now, but hopefully it will improve. But the mainline's nice, so we love that. And let's see here. So multiple weekly flights, mainly twice weekly for most of the Allegiant flights. And then United, it's 4 times a day to Dulles. And then Chicago is about, it just depends on the season, but it can be 3 to 4 times daily depending. And usually 1 mainline at least, sometimes 2 or 3. Delta flies to New York, LaGuardia, Detroit, and Atlanta. Detroit and Atlanta are both mainline services. They're catty corner right there a little bit. And the New York LaGuardia services usually operate 2 to 3 times a day. Detroit 3 to 4 times, once mainline, and then Delta 3 main lines to Atlanta, and that's pretty typical for all their upstate New York airports, mainly 320s, a couple 319s, and 321s during summer as well. So pretty congruent with like Syracuse, Rochester, Albany. All those airports are kind of in the same bracket with regards to how they operate. American Airlines has a pretty large presence here, definitely by destination count. They serve Charlotte and Dallas-Fort Worth on mainline. Those are the 2 320s you're seeing right there. And then they also serve Philadelphia, Chicago, and Washington National regularly on regional jets. And then they also usually have Saturday-only service, especially in the winter, to Miami. So we'll be covering those. And actually, we do have an error here. I'll take it out before the first update. Gate 11 is actually a swing gate, which is going to be very tough to represent, but that technically actually is a swing gate, which is pretty crazy, meaning that the jet bridge serves both stands. I know my stand position is not very accurate, but once again, I'm just making it work with what I have. So hope you all don't mind bearing with me, but I'll get that gate realigned and it'll be a little bit closer. It'll still be a little tough. And then we have JetBlue. They use gates B6, which is this one right here, and C1, which is this gate right here. So B1 through 4 kind of went bye-bye. B4 technically does exist right there. This is B4, I think. Sorry, it's so easy to get this confused. B9, B7, B5. So B4 is kind of right here, but I think it's just a line. And I think they might use it for hard stands sometimes, but I'm only seeing 3 overnight, so I just left it pretty simple here. And this is a very narrow area here. I just want to keep it all on one board, and I still had to pull out another board for the hard stands over there, which we'll talk about in a moment. But anyway, JetBlue flies to Fort Lauderdale and Orlando, and both of which are daily services, and they're overnight, so kind of cool. So you'll see that. And I think they have some daytime ones during the summer too, usually, so that's pretty cool. Southwest is actually the largest carrier at Albany, only 25 years of service, but still the largest carrier by quite a long shot, but those 737s go a long way. Southwest serves a variety of destinations. Baltimore 5 times a day, which is very impressive. Chicago Midway twice daily. A service to Denver and Las Vegas, both once daily, very impressive. A daily service to Nashville. I think it's double daily to Orlando. It's at least once daily, but I think it's double. And then usually a daily service to Tampa too. So very impressive, no doubt about that. So they actually overnight plan on stand in the American. I'm assuming the hard stand situation is what's going on over there, but I'll go talk about that in just a moment once we finish the rest of the services here. So let's see, I believe I covered everybody besides the taxiing low-cost carriers. Avelo has 2 destinations at Albany, which is great. So excited to feature them regularly, just like Destin. So Avelo flies to Raleigh-Durham, and then actually here in October, the Concorde service will resume. So very cool. And Concorde's a suburb of Charlotte, so pretty awesome there. And then Breeze Airways also has a good variety here of destinations out of Albany. They serve Charleston, South Carolina, Raleigh-Durham, and then they will begin a seasonal service to Fort Myers on December 17th. So that'll be very nice, and a variety of services there. So glad to see Breeze here at Albany. It's a relatively new station. I think they started it this past summer. So great to see Breeze in here, and they will definitely do well in the market. So let's go ahead and talk about gates a little bit more in depth. Allegiant Air uses gate number A1. So A1 and A2, like I mentioned earlier, were previously lower level stand gates for the commuter Continental Express Beach 1900 hub that obviously demised. So they turned it into jet bridges. Nobody is currently really using A2, 3, or 4. I'm sure if one of these two gates for United had maintenance issues, they would. But Allegiant was using A3 till they moved to A1. And then otherwise, I don't believe these are being used at all. I'm sure A4 was used when the Newark service was there, but obviously no need for that right now. So kind of empty, but this is great for expansion. So I'm sure we'll see these fill up long term. United's using mainly A5 and 6 right now, but I'm sure they've used A4 as well plenty, so we'll see some variety there, I'm sure. Delta's using gates B5, B7, and B8, so you can expect action there. American Airlines is using gates B9, B10, and B11, and once again, B11 is a swing gate, so this one jet bridge really should be serving both those stands, but B9 and B10 are independent, pretty normal. As I mentioned earlier, JetBlue is using B6 and C1, so kind of interesting numbering combination there. And Southwest uses gates C2 and C3. Now there's these 3 hard stands on the side here by the Southwest gates. I'm almost positive the Southwest uses this hard stand pretty regularly. They overnight 3 planes, and JetBlue overnights here. Per what I'm seeing, either JetBlue has to move, which I don't think would make much sense, or Southwest in the satellite imagery and kind of what I'm seeing from some of the photos I've seen will move a plane over here. So I believe that's what's going on. I'm not nearly as confident with this, so some local Albany spotter or somebody hopefully can help me out. I do not know where American is taking their 2 etched up planes, because they overnight 6 planes, 2 A320s, those should stay at the gate. And then they have 2 services from Philadelphia that overnight, which is 5 daily 145s, is pretty cool. But anyway, one of them has to come off the gate in some capacity, and then either Chicago or the Washington Reagan CRJ 700 service has to come off the gate. So I think that these 2 in some capacity probably come to these extra 2 hard stands over here. I don't know where else on the airport they could park them. That would be relatively close, and this is still even pretty far. So if anybody knows where they're parking these planes, please let me know, because I would love to represent it correctly if I'm not. But this is my best logical guess. I'm assuming they are probably over here. I don't know why else they would do it otherwise. Okay, so that's the passenger service, pretty in-depth. So there is the rundown, and of course we'll get more familiar with it as we move into additional updates. And then I'm going to represent the Millionaire FBO, which is the biggest one at Albany here on my display. At some point I wouldn't mind expanding. They have quite a few other hangars, including, like I said, the 2 airline maintenance hangars, and I think they might have 1 or 2 more major GA hangars. But anyway, here's the Millionaire hangar, so we'll have some various Gulfstream, Citations, and other prop aircraft here. So I got the hangar FBO combo from Aviation Models. Check out the description for the discount if you want it. And then I'll use this hangar over here as a mix and match back and forth between Piedmont and Commute Air. You have Commute Air in there right now, and Commute Air has a very large presence and history here, so that's why I started with them. But you can expect that to also be used for, like I said, Piedmont for American 145s. So that would explain the Philadelphia service. And possibly they could be towing these planes over to the hangar here. There's a chance that they might tow both of the, I doubt it, but, well, not necessarily actually. There's a chance that they're towing both the Piedmont 145s over to the hangar every night. So that actually could be what's going on. It's pretty far off, so I didn't think about that initially, but that is a possibility. So for any av geeks that know, please let me know. Again, it will take a few months to get this just right, but I'm doing the best I can. I've never been to Albany, so hope to change that. And then lastly, the main portion here, the last big portion, is that I have the UPS cargo ramp and FedEx cargo ramp here. It's not even close to this. It would be like on the whole other side of the airport. Same for that hangar too. Millionaire is actually pretty close to the terminal building, but it's actually down over here. But anyway, I thought that this would be the best place for it, and I got all the GSC and so forth, so it's looking pretty sharp. So yeah, that is the Albany initial overview. So I really hope all of you are excited for this airport to regularly get going. I decided to choose Albany mainly for the reason that it was so easy to fit into my setup here, and I don't have to make a whole new board. I just have to manipulate it a little bit. And this is a really simple way to do it. Albany, without question as well, is one of the coolest airports in the region regarding its airline variety. Ideally, Hartford or Providence or one of those probably would have been a little bit better with the breeze hubs, of course, and whatnot, but there's still plenty of cool action here that I think we're really going to enjoy. The Detroit main line on Delta is super cool. Southwest's extensive presence gives us opportunity for variety, and JetBlue as well. So fortunately, this works in many ways that's really good to obviously propel us to use a variety of aircraft to keep it from not being boring, but also to, make it reasonable on my side, not have to make a whole new airport and whatnot. So I think there's multiple benefits to it, and it works out well. We also had the little Commute Air and Piedmont hangar situation going on. So that's going to be pretty cool throughout. But yeah, I'm certainly really excited about it. Let me know what you all think, and I hope to all my Northeast aviators here in the US that this is a satisfactory new addition. And I know there might be some discrepancies, so please let me know if you have any questions. I know this area is a little bit tight over here. I literally have foils off of the edge, but obviously I was doing my best to make it work on one display. I'm just really glad that this building ended up being pretty much just right. Ideally, if I had one more foot over here, not even that really, even 6 inches, it really would have been just right, but pretty close. And then, you know, only CRJs you normally park at that gate anyway, so it's not a huge deal to display. But anyway, and also it has a really good variety of GA traffic too. Like I said, Millionaire really does have a good presence down here, so this will be great for the new GA planes I've acquired recently, and then all the other aspects. So I don't think there's going to be any shortage. It also has a really good summer seasonal peak when we have the A321s. American Delta will send A321s as well, JetBlue too. So we'll have good variety during the summer months, and yeah, I'm expecting more growth here. It's a pretty good community, so I think it's going to do really well. And again, we have quite a few gates to work with. We're not limited on gate space. We have all these gates over here that any carrier could really come in and use anytime. So hopefully that means more good news down the pipe. But anyway, really hope all of you enjoyed the initial overview. Thank you all so much for watching. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Trust the process. Do you love and love you do. My name's CM Aviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as CM Aviation is signing off.